right? Like, no professor wanted to have a class or Wednesday afternoon, because the chance of you actually having that class was 0 to none. Because when we would have our chapel services together, the power of God would just fall, and we would be there for hours. I remember just like being in this, I can't even explain the state, but I fell back under the power of God onto chairs. Okay, so this, we weren't catching, we were doing it because everybody's just doing this on their own. And I laid in this prone position against the chairs for about 3 hours. Now, if I did that today, it would probably hurt. But back then, it just was the power of God that just flowed. And we would regularly just enjoy this time in God's presence. And it just became an expectation that, okay, if we know when we go to chapel today, God's going to show up and amazing things are going to take place. Now, what took place in Asbury took that up a few notches and a few levels, because nobody wanted to leave. The presence of God was so heavy in the place that other people started coming in, and more people started coming in, and people weren't leaving, and it was just this awesome presence of God. This went on for 11 days straight, 24 hours a day. They said students would go back to their dorms, grab their mattress, drag it into the chapel, and they would sleep in the chapel because they didn't want to leave the presence of God. And it was just such an amazing time. Now, they've reported yesterday that tonight's service will be kind of the conclusion of it, and then they're going to have to move it to different places, and then they're going to have to do it during the day, because the president of the university has decided that these kids have to go back to classes. I'm just like, okay. What encourages me with this the most is this is a fulfillment of a vision that God had given me years ago.